All right, this is the third video so far, and what I've been documenting in terms of what I've been doing with my 96 Impala Super Sport. I got the driver's seat here that I'm getting ready to change out the leather on. It's not in terrible shape, this leather, but I changed out the leather and everything else, so I might as well do this one. It does have a pretty good dip in it. The driver's seats normally do, so I'll be able to add something to kind of lift it up and even it out. So I'll try to get a video shot of that when I'm doing that part of the install. This is the leather, the new leather that's going on there. I got this one from Texan Auto Seat Cover. Found them on eBay, but then I realized they're here in town, here in Houston. So I contacted them directly. Great people to work with. I really liked it. I already did the back seat and the passenger seat. So in terms of the passenger seat, you know, lets me know exactly what I'm going to get into with this one in just a bit. One of the most important things with doing the leather seat change outs with these cars is they call them pig rings, hog rings. I don't know. These are absolutely a must that you need for this job, and the special pliers for it. This was the other ones that I got. So there's a part number box. I already went through 200 of these doing the back seats and the passenger seat. So yeah, you go through quite a bit of them when you're doing these. This is the passenger seat, and yeah, it looks great. And I did the same thing in terms of I added something to the foam to lift up and kind of even it out. So yeah, this was really good. And the back seat is already in the car, which is dirty as hell. And it's a rainy evening out here in Texas. But this is the back seat. Actually, I think I can get a better shot if I do from the front door. There we go. And that's what the leather looks like. It'll even out in a couple days on its own. But the only touch that I did add to it was I told them to add the SS logos on the back of these headrests, like the front seats. So I really liked the way that came out. Installed okay after going through like almost 200 of those rings. But yeah, everything's going good so far. I'll try to splice in some video of the install in just a bit. All right, first part of the install is taking out this handle, which I don't know why the previous owner had it backwards, but that's fine. Just so you know, if you haven't done this before, this is not one of those handles you can just pull and yank out and it'll come out. There is actually a small clip in there, which I will try to post a picture of when I get it out. A small clip that you do have to take out, you know, maybe with like some needle nose or whatever you can find. But yeah, if you just try to yank this thing out, you will probably most definitely break something, so don't do that. All right, I got it out. It's pretty simple to do. If you take a flathead and just kind of just push this out of the way from that ridge right here, and then this will kind of just shake out if you give it a tug. Don't be too rough with it. These old cars are the plastic on these things is not that great. So that's the first part. Now just taking out the leather from the bottom and taking the leather off the bottom part of the seat. There is, I'll have to get in another clip of the video, how to take the back part off. So let's try that. All right, this is the back part of the rear seat. So to get this part of leather out, looks like what we have here is some, looks like a hog ring. That's what I got on mine, but I'm pretty sure that's not original. But it looks like just some needle nose pliers on that side. Looks like I have some here too, to be able to get that part out. And then this clip at the bottom, which there you go. Then that, these two parts, one on each side, and then it should come out. All right, I'm getting the seat off. It's pretty simple. Just unfold the plastic part that goes around the bottom of the edge, and there's a couple of hog rings here that you have to pry out from this part of the seat towards the front. But I ran into a little snag. I don't know if it was the previous owner or the upholstery shop that did this, but they put spray, it looks like spray adhesive all over the front, which don't do this at all, because now I'm having to take off material, and there's no replacement for these seat foams. So if you get replacement leather, like on this one, it has the padding here, those two strips that attach to the Velcro here and keep it buckled down. This one looks like it didn't have it, or it didn't work. But if yours doesn't have anything like that that's going to stick to the Velcro, don't put it in. Don't put in this adhesive stuff. You're just going to make it harder on yourself. You know, if you ever do have to change it out in the future, or if you end up selling the car, the next owner like me is going to have to deal with this. Okay, sorry for all the clips, but I'm doing this one step at a time and trying to show everybody what I'm doing here. I was actually able to get it off with the minimal amount of material coming off. Looks like this old seat didn't have those strips for the Velcro, so I can see why they did it, but they shouldn't have had to do it in the first place. Now the seat's ready to come off, take off, and I'll start to see about putting on the new leather piece. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to take this piece off first so I can get everything off all at once. All right, I got the cushion off, and this is what I find. Some of this is pretty common, and yeah, that. So all this has got to go. I'm going to put in some new underlayment, foam type stuff, whatever this is, which you can actually find. I found some at Lowe's, and so I'm gonna do 2 or 3 layers of this just to reinforce it. And yeah, I'm gonna make sure I do that before I put on the seat cushion with the new leather. All right, now I got the seat back off and the headrest. Again, as you can tell, that there was more adhesive right here, which don't do that. Which I'm guessing they didn't get to put in the hog rings that you need to put right here on this part. At least 3. 5 if you got some extras, which is what I'm gonna do. They just did that mainly because, I'll show you why in a second, and they still, you know, did that because the seat back didn't have Velcro. So this is the seat back inside out. No thing right here for hog rings, and then no strips here for the Velcro. So if you are getting new seats for your car, the 94 to 96 Impala with these seats, I'm not sure about the Caprices, they may have the same thing, but if it doesn't have the strips for those parts of the Velcro, either on the back or on the seat bottom, yeah, absolutely do not get them or try to install them. Because yeah, you're just going to be damaging your seat foam, and you don't want that. Pretty much like I said in the previous video, they don't make replacements for these yet. All right, I got the chair, I got the seat kind of laid down right now. I'm putting the leather over it, which can be done upright, but this is a really important step that you do not want to skip. Inside the seat cover, you have this part here. This piece has this hard line at the end of it, and you want to put the hog ring into the bottom ridge right there. I'm sure there are better videos out there than this, but make sure you put in at least 3 more if you got it. Texan Auto seat cover, these, yeah, they did it right. They made sure to put this in, which is a really important part. You want your seat to look good and stay the way that it should. Don't skip this part. And right here, the Velcro part, like I was saying before, the Velcro part's here. Make sure it all stays nice and tucked and firm. So after you put the hog rings in, then get your seat upright and continue to put in the rest of the leather all the way down. Okay, I got the hog rings in. Now it's nice and secure. Now I can continue to fold the rest of the seat over. I went ahead and did 5, but you can get away with 3. 2 on each end and then 1 in the middle. But now that I'm doing this, I'm gonna give a quick bit of advice. If you're doing this, is if you're going to be doing these seats with the hog rings, especially with the rear seats, you're going to do so many of them, you're going to have duds. Some that don't go in right, you got to pull out. Sometimes you got to pull out the old ones. Here's a combination of some duds that didn't work right, and I had to pull back out along with some of the old ones. And when you get these, put them in a pile and throw them away immediately, because these things are razor sharp. Not only will you accidentally scratch yourself with them, but more importantly, you're working with your seats here and you have them laid over, and if you lay your seat over one, this will cut your new leather, which you do not absolutely want at all. So word of advice, always make sure to throw these away. I got the back part in. Definitely is not easy, but was able to do it. This is where the 5 hog rings go to keep this contour looking right all the time, and the Velcro keeps this part attached to the back of it without it moving. So just to remember just to do those parts, and also don't forget, you have to put your hand all the way to the back up here. There's one clip within here that's also really important that you'll be able to see once you're changing out your own seat. So don't forget that one. So onto the seat bottom, and hopefully finishing up in just a bit. Okay, so I got the bottom part almost ready to tuck in. I got the leather pretty much onto the cushion. Let me see. Under here, I did put the hog rings. Sorry for the camera movement, but you can kind of see them in there. I had a bunch extra, so I did 5 just for kicks. Since it's the driver's seat and it's going to be used a lot more than all the other ones. But after that, to the side, I put these pads here. Some guys put 2, some guys put them just here on the lower part. I went ahead and did 3, just in case. I'm gonna do a test fitment. 3 layers worked with my other seat, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna work with this one. If I still notice a bit of a dip in it, then I'll go ahead and add 1 more back here. But yeah, now just time to put the cushion on and get it all fitted up. And the last part in a little bit is going to be the headrest. Okay, I got the lower part put on. I ended up putting 3 layers of that underlayment type of stuff, that carpet padding. So 3 layers fit, and the tough part is the hook that it has all the way around to kind of bring it in, fold it over, and latch it onto the rails underneath where it's supposed to go. That did give me a little bit of trouble, but I got it. Everything else was pretty fine. Latched into the back. Secured those back there. It didn't have the stock pins that you normally have, so I had to use more of the hog rings. So that's looking pretty good. Now the last step is getting this old headrest cover off, which is pretty easy. It's just taking this part off, taking it apart, and in the new one, making sure you secure the sides with the rings right down there. So I got to take this off and install the new one. All right, and that is it. Got everything put away. The heat will probably start to even out the wrinkles once it's in the car for a few days. Got the headrest in there, which was kind of tricky. Here's the old one. Just got to make sure you get the clips right. And the one that I got did not have these holes right here for the 2 metal rods, so I had to put them in there myself. But apart from that, got it in there okay, and got it mounted in. So I know it's late, but I'm gonna still try to mount them, get them into the car right now anyway. Okay, I'm adding a little bit extra to the video. I ended up taking the driver's seat back out because the bottom support of it, in terms of the springs and stuff, was pretty much absent. Previous owner pretty much had nothing there. So I ended up ordering what they call the spring grid and some springs. But I found the only thing I could find was for some Chevy trucks, and I was hoping that it would actually fit this. It was a shot in the dark, but it didn't work out that way. So the ones that I got were for a Tahoe, I believe, and for the bottom part I ended up getting 2 of them and some springs, but the springs were absolutely not going to work. There's no way it was going to do any type of tension. This is just, I didn't know what to do. There's another video with another guy that actually welded some stuff together for this, and some other, I think what they call the zigzag springs, which, I respect that one. That was a, pretty good move to do with these seats. I don't have access to a welder or anything like that at the moment, so I did end up having some of these heavy duty zip ties. Ended up having absolutely just enough to do this, and each zip tie is rated for 175 pounds. So I did one on each part where there should have been a spring and just zip tied it on each side. And then this is actually 2 of these grids put together, as you can see here, and I put a bunch of little zip ties to keep them together and keep them from moving. And I did one zip tie from this metal bar to the back for more of the bottom support, and it actually looks like it's gonna work pretty well. I can't guarantee this will work, but this is what I'm gonna try, and I just decided to add this into the video. There was no support for the back either. Thankfully, the grid that I did order for the Chevys and Tahoes, I did order a third one, ended up working pretty well, and I just zip tied it to the back here in the back of the seat, and just lifted up the leather a little bit. Now time to put it all back together and see how this driver's seat feels now. All right, this is just to show how the seats ended up looking. We can zoom out a bit. They came out really good. Pretty happy with it. This is a few days after. It took me a couple days to piece together this whole video, but all this ended up smoothing out right here, and as it gets a little bit warmer now, I think it'll continue to do so. Great little touch was, that I really liked was the SS logo on these rear seats that they put on for me. And here's the front. Really liked the way they came out. Nice and firm here. Holds up pretty well here. Passenger seat even more. Overall, real happy with the outcome of this whole thing. So, got any questions or anything, leave them in the comments. I would like to get a couple more views and hits on these videos, so yeah.